So is the video that will be a response to Uncle Boonmee, who can recall his past lives, which I posted last week. I'm trying to get this all up to date as to what we're doing here. I'm trying to use it as a platform for putting out these videos instead of sort of mini lectures, which I discussed in the Zoom session. The Zoom sessions, we'll keep open on that. I'm not sure how many we'll do because people have kind of spread across the globe, and it's kind of strange to have Zoom sessions where only 2/3 of you can show up. So I think I might stick to this format of doing videos, posting them. I've been sick. Sorry about that. I've been sick, so I haven't really. I fell behind on the Thursday. I should have posted a lab. I'll catch up with that. But I'm feeling a little better, not totally better, but a little better. And so I'm going to go ahead and start doing these videos. They'll be pretty rough and raggedy. I'm not all that excited about making them it's not like we're doing, video production as the lectures. They're going to be real simple, like this. So let me start on this. We'll do another one in a few minutes that give you kind of update on all the stuff that I'm going to suggest as far as how to carry on with the semester. This is focused on Boonmee. I have another video that I'll post in a couple of minutes. It's quite larger. My son had to do a video for his class, so he did an interview with me discussing what's the other one? Oh, the clock. And so that one, it's got all the information I was going to do anyway, but I thought, if he's got to do an interview, might as well do it with me. So that's that. So anyway, so the Boonmee, let me just explain real quick what that was. That was a clip where the monkey god arrived at the dinner table. Now, normally I show a clip that's longer, but I use this for one from YouTube, which is available. So the longer clip actually has them sitting at a dinner, and then the woman who's sitting to the left side is actually a ghost who suddenly appears, and it's Boonmee's wife's sister, and she had passed away years before. And the gentleman sitting in the middle there is actually Boonmee's medical attendant who takes care of him. He has a kidney disease, which is killing him, basically. And so he's seeing people from his past. And then the monkey god who comes in is obviously their son, who has transformed into a monkey god, and he did that because he started photographing monkeys in the wild, and he discovered these Yeti, what do they call them, Bigfoot type characters, who are part of Thai folk tales, mythology. The reason I am interested in this clip is, one is it challenges certain notions about how we watch movies, such as the structure of it. I don't know if you caught this. I usually show a 10-minute clip, so it's much more apparent, but it's all done in long takes, and it unfolds kind of slowly, and it's meant to be a sort of meditative. It's meant to be sort of allowing people to think about what they're seeing on the screen, and it allows for the intertwining of the various characters in a way that I think that if you have a much more Hollywood style aesthetic, which is trying to keep the time and the space coherent, and also directing the viewer's attention to whatever is in the frame that is important to the narrative. And the narrative is the whole thing. If it doesn't move the story forward, then it isn't important. Basically, that's a Hollywood approach. And also the idea of you should be able to know where the characters are in relation to each other at all times. Now Boonmee does that exactly, though it does have those. In the clip we had, there wasn't much of this, but there's points where they cut away. The filmmaker cuts away to sort of like static shots of like the lights outside the house, the mountainside with some plants and stuff on it. And these are what are called pillow shots, and these are definitely not Hollywood approved aesthetics. But it is a Japanese style aesthetics from the filmmaker Ozu, and people have kind of tried to put a Zen idea on it, where it's supposed to be like meditative and that sort of Zen sense. But actually, he said it really just was these pillow shots that he put into his films, which if you watch Late Spring, you watch Tokyo Story, there's clips of those available on YouTube. You'll see exactly what he's talking about. They're meant to like sort of take a pause from the narrative, the story that's unfolding, and allow the viewer to just think about what's unfolded. It's usually they follow fairly dramatic scenes. So in Boonmee, there's a couple of points where it's just the the narrative stops, and then there's a cutaway to, like I said, lamps outside of the ring of light around the dinner, the patio where they're having dinner, right? And this allows the viewer to think about it. Now, it's already moving fairly slowly, so you can a lot of time to think about what's going on. But it's still a different approach. I'm interested in this film because it challenges your expectations as a viewer. Most people, when they go to the movies, certainly in American context, don't expect films to be in long takes or single takes that unfold in the frame, as opposed to cutting to different scenes, different framings, which allows the filmmaker to basically say, look at this, look at that, look at this. Whereas this is more like a single frame, like you're watching right now, and you can look at the bookshelves in the back, you can look at me, you can look at this globe I have up here. I also have a globe right here, which I painted white, which has a little black USA on it. It's totally 40 years ago, so it's totally not anything to do with now. But you have a choice to look at what's in the frame versus the director specifically aiming you towards the frame. And this is a different aesthetic. It's something that you definitely find in European films. You definitely find in Japanese films and other films throughout the world. I mean, a lot of them, like Bollywood, etc., copy the basic concept of Hollywood cinema, which is this idea of continuous geography within the frame, and in other words, all the characters know where they are, the spatial relations, right? And also a duration that is continuous time, right? There may be lapses like jumps ahead or like meanwhile or whatever, but still you're moving forward in time. Occasionally there's flashbacks, but those are used much more in other cinemas throughout the world. So I really wanted you to get an idea about that. Also, the way that the narrative is very realistic in the sense that you're seeing people there, but you've also got fantastic elements put into them, like the ghost is translucent; you can see through her, and obviously the monkey guy is all hairy with those glowing eyes. And so there's fantastic aspects. It's kind of a bit like what the magical realism, which is the Latin American literary genre, but it's been transported throughout the world because it's really an interesting genre where you pull in the psychology of the characters to sort of understand what's going on in the narrative or in the story, right? The last idea is just the fantastic. We're so used to science fiction and horror and that kind of stuff that have these fantastic elements in them, but they're almost always like to shock you or to thrill you or a spectacle of some kind. And Boonmee definitely doesn't do that. Boonmee definitely focuses on the fantastic is just one more element in the daily consciousness, daily events of these people's lives. I highly recommend the film to watch the whole thing. I'm not sure where it's available at the moment. I also highly recommend you watch The Mummy by Karl Freund, which is a 1932, I think it is, film about the mummy. It's Boris Karloff's in it and stuff. But the scene where it's the first 10 minutes, maybe 5 minutes, the scene where the mummy awakens, the classic, sort of horror elements. It's a German expressionist style of filmmaking. Hitler chased all the filmmakers out during the late 20s, and they ended up in the US, and they basically created universal horror films, The Mummy, The Wolfman, Frankenstein, which we've watched, right, etc. But if you watch the opening of I've used that in the past. If you watch the opening of The Mummy, where they awaken the mummy, you'll see Hollywood style filmmaking at a sort of the moment where it really gelled and really formed. I believe you can. There's again, I think there's just a clip on YouTube. I'll look for some of these things and see if I can put some links below this image or maybe above this image. Depends. But anyway, watch this. I'm trying to think of what else I usually say about this. Oh, last of all, the filmmaker, which I'm not going to pronounce his name. Look it up on internet. Boonmee, Uncle Boonmee, who can recall his past lives. He's a Thai filmmaker. I don't want to mutilate his name by trying to pronounce it. I've heard it said, but I'm bad with pronunciation of names, as I've mentioned in class. But he was a filmmaker. He's a filmmaker who went to the School of the Art Institute of Chicago, which is, is one of my schools I went to. And the Thai film industry. He had worked in the Thai film industry already. And they said, we want you to have training in this more. We'll pay for you to go wherever. And he chose the Art Institute of Chicago, which is a really interesting choice. He is now considered probably the most famous Thai filmmaker, certainly on the festival circuit, the sort of International Arts Cinema Festival circuit, which is Cannes, the SF Film Festival, etc. So with that, you can certainly post questions to this below. You can also text me. You can also email me. Text I'll respond to almost immediately. Emails I try to respond to immediately. I'm online a lot. Even when I was sick, I was online, so I was reading your stuff. I just didn't really have a time to respond. I was pretty out of it, blotto. But anyway, look for another video real soon. Bye.